guess then the next question is, how do we get margin, right? So these are the logos of the movers and the shakers: Amazon, Cisco, Microsoft, Google. So the question is, where are they headed? And then, are we invited? So with Cisco focusing on the cloud-based environment with remote management and diagnostics, which is something they've been in for a long time, but now the market's ready for it. Microsoft's relationships with its end users, it's not about just selling software through an integrator. It's getting users to adopt technology. You guys have probably all read The Complexity Avalanche by J.B. Wood and the concept of the consumption gap. And if somebody doesn't know how to use something, and I am a huge example of this as I'm learning how to use all these different tools right now. With that concept of the consumption gap, John, you and I have talked a lot about Microsoft and how focused they are on user adoption. Do you think there's a role for the technology integrator to help with that aspect? Do you think that's a foot in the door for adding more value?
I think as it relates to particular to Microsoft, but it can apply to all the other vendors, we as integrators need to understand what are the new needs of those vendors. In the past, we talked earlier about, design, deployment, service, and support. If you look at Microsoft, user adoption or usage is top of mind as a major, major challenge for them to prevent revenue erosion in their new model of consumption. For example, when they bought Yammer, they struggled to get users to use it. And they ended up putting together a very special team out of their corporate office that would solve that problem. And interesting enough, that team's role has been expanded to include other Microsoft products. So I think fortunately for integrators, Microsoft is still struggling to solve this problem. What I see them doing is kind of the classic, lead the horse to water and hope they drink it by creating these websites where people can go and volunteer to consume the information. I think they still sort of pursue this old strategy of building content. It brings to mind, I guess that horse example is the perfect one. So I think an integrator has an opportunity to add value in this new area of services and to promote and track the usage of consumption. This applies also to the traditional hardware manufacturer, like Cisco was a hardware manufacturer, and they sold equipment that was only really touched by IT departments, and it was all in the closet or in the computer room. Today, as they've moved with the phone to the desktop, they now have an equal number of products that are all really applications, like Jabber and a whole bunch of others. So as they move in that environment, their needs are changing, and I think we as integrators have to understand what are those new needs, and are we positioned to be able to satisfy those needs.
Interesting. So what is everybody else seeing? Lane, I'll pick on you. I mean, what are some other examples where you as a technology integrator can add value and services in this situation? Are you seeing user adoption as one of the roles, or are there other ways that you can add value to the customer and stay in the loop?
Yeah, certainly that is the challenge, right? Is where are the best ways we can provide value? I think to the earlier point, the manufacturers are definitely becoming somewhat competitive in this space, right? And so how do we continue to show value? I still see customers looking for local representation, local support, and I think Dave mentioned, as a resurgence of private cloud comes in, it's that integration with private cloud and public cloud is going to be, I think, our next big push. How do we create, the Amazons? They have a place. We're probably, I don't think we're going to get rid of Amazon or shut Amazon down. So it's how do we work within that? And I think what we're seeing customers go is, I want to have private cloud, use Amazon where it's appropriate. How do I connect those two, and how do I manage that environment? And potentially that's our opportunity to provide value.
Good, I like that. John Riley, any of your thoughts on whether you guys are focused on user adoption or other ways to add value?
Sure, probably other ways. One of the things that I do work with a number of partners with this exact topic, and how can they maintain account control? How can they maintain the relevancy to their customer? When they're margins are being eroded, and of course, their services are being eroded. So one of the conversations that I have with them, especially when you take a look at these icons on the screen, when you look at Amazon, Microsoft, even Cisco, and you look at the complete application lifecycle, do they actually encompass that? And the answer is no, none of them actually do. If you look at everything from development to testing to full production to scale to performance and security and user adoption, everything that a particular application goes through, none of them offer the full gamut. When you peel back the onion on the services, they're really missing a number of key elements. So the approach I take is not just that the partner can add value by filling in the holes. And certainly that might be the case. They could work nicely with Cisco, as an example, where Cisco might do some of the services, but the partner kind of wraps, those Cisco services in their own comprehensive approach. But at the same time, it gives a partner a unique conversation where they can, maybe have a little bit more of a competitive conversation and say, well, actually, we do the full life cycle, of your applications, of these specific applications, whereas, this, manufacturer X actually does not. So it's a way to offer more than just value. It's a way to, grow their services. They're going to have to create net new services and possibly get new talent, new skills, on board to do this. But it's a way to put them back in the game fully.
A couple of housekeeping details. Save the date. We're going to do this every Wednesday, first Wednesday of every month, and we will continue to talk about and do a deeper dives on this topic. Also, within a couple of weeks, you'll be getting a podcast link to top 3 risks of not moving to a cloud services model with my guest, George Malore from Cloud Readiness. So that'll be coming to your inbox. And then I would encourage you to take a look at the new 1NService site. It's under modifications right now, so it looks a little different now, but it doesn't look completely different, which it will look a little bit different moving forward because there's links to things you didn't have links to before. Also, the social media LinkedIn group is active, so please go to the LinkedIn 1NService group and give your thoughts on the Collabinar and, add some additional detail. But if you have things that you're announcing for your company on either Twitter or LinkedIn, let's make sure we're connected. Follow me, I'll follow you, and we can make sure that we're part of the buzz. So this is the new way of doing business, right? If we want manufacturers to pay attention to where we are, we need to have thought leadership and we need to be vocal about it. And then, of course, if you're interested in moving forward with a membership, and I'll be reaching out to you guys to talk about how we can add more value. But this link right here is the membership page, which is really all about what's included with membership, because I get that question a lot. Remember that we'll be doing this every month, and you'll be hearing a lot more from me. So thank you so much for your participation.